tick, says the clock. What we have to do today is worthy of note.
This is Sunny Side with Joyce, only on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
All right, we're here. We're gathered. Soon about to begin. Okay, my name is Joyce, and I have my colleague with me, our in-house news analyst. Hello, and a very, happy independence, I can say.
Yeah, thank you, Joyce. Happy independence.
A very good afternoon to you.
A pleasure.
It's good to have you again. I think you've been on my show before.
Yeah, 2 or 3.
But you're here today on a different capacity.
Yeah.
All right, so we're waiting for just one more guest to join us this afternoon. And we will look at Nigeria at 65 together. Quite a number of things that we want to touch on. We want to touch on insecurity, human rights issues. We want to touch on inflation, the humming ethnic divide. We want to talk about governor's allocation. I think we have just enough time to look at all the, maybe not all, but certainly the aspects of our collective unity that makes us Nigerian, that defines what it means to be Nigerian, or maybe whether there's still room to redefine what Nigeria should be, because it's not quite evident that we are clear. We're there. We're at 65. So let me even ask you while we're waiting for our guest. I want to go off on a short musical break. I'm just not about to make you sweat this one just yet. But
you think I'll sweat?
Oh, no. I think like the conversation is still going to, develop into a more intense conversation. Yep. I want you to relax, have fun on the sunny side. I just thought to pick your brain on the thoughts that just ran through my mind. So I don't think you're going to sweat.
Right.
Nigeria puts us through the worst. So I think we've seen the worst already.
Yeah.
No, it's whether you think at 65 we comprehend our national identity, like, Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, Efik, Ibibio, Calabar. Do we know who we are or who we are supposed to be? Do you think we get it?
Yeah, let me start by introducing myself. My name is Honora Animubudu. Actually, I, like you said, an in-house analyst at this point. I think 65 years of our political independence, in the sense that we've been free, but we are under colonial rule for the 65. Now that we are free from 1960 to now, we are now a free country that decide who leads. But the issue is that we are still not
free
from the way we think, from that Nigerian aspect, that whole I'm a Nigerian, that like say identifying yourself with Nigerian as a nation. We always see ourselves from that enclave. I am this, I am that. And the question is, do we actually have a vision or a master plan for a Nigerian-led nation before we got the independence? It has always been the issue of the region. The man from that, but our forefathers, those that actually fought for our independence, actually had a vision of one Nigeria. But those they handed over to seems not to have comprehended, because there were no books, no written record to say this is what we want to use to project ourselves as one nation. It has been always, it is my person. Is it my person that is there?
Is it also because there isn't any definition? Because, I think until you define something,
good,
it can be anything.
Yes.
So maybe there isn't quite a clear definition.
There's no clear definition of that Nigerianism. Nigeria as a nation. This is what we want to. And if you don't have a well thought out definition, anybody comes up with some idea and fix it into it, and then start making a projection of what it ought to be or what it should look like, and then makes other people to believe that it must be like that. You have a different view about what it is. When we compare ourselves with some countries like America is a nation, yes, but they are a nation that has states that are independent, that are autonomous, that are autocratic, that know that this is what we want to see to happen within our states, before they now gave their freedom towards the unity, the unifying this. But here we want the unity to actually dictate what happens to the state, and we created the states, and not that the state existed before the country called Nigeria. So that's just that.
I really appreciate that. That's a very solid introduction. While we're waiting for a guest to get seated, we're off on a break. We'll be right back. You're listening to 99.3 We're Nigeria Info. My name's Joyce.
Here we stand as a people with one song, with one voice. We're a nation undivided and poised. We will take us down and build our land in faith to defend what is ours. Here we are as a people with one heart for one cause. We're determined to rebuild and restore. Where freedom reigns and truth prevails, our land where there's hope for us all. Our land
99.3. Well, I like the Sony side. We're 99.3. And this is Nigeria Info. My name's Joyce. Welcome to the Sunny Side. I have company in the studios. You already know. We're 65 today, and Nigeria Info is bringing to you the Roundtable. We're collecting opinions. We're collecting persuasions. We're collecting proof of what it means to be Nigerian at 65, evidence. So this is a no holds barred type conversation. And while I was playing for your enjoyment this song, honestly, my entire motive was to remind you to listen to the song with the passion with which it was rendered. And I was honestly just going to come back on air and tell you how beautiful this piece of art is.
Yeah, right.
Only for the Son of Man. David. David, no. So David, it's good to have you rather briefly on the Roundtable.
Briefly, very good.
And I would love for you to shamelessly repeat what you said earlier.
He left.
Okay, so
He left. He's not in Nigeria again. So we are clearly not all we have,
So Nigerians, welcome to the show, and I don't know whether that's hit you the way it hit me. That while this is a very beautiful song, passionately written by Nigerians, sang, rendered, produced by a Nigerian for Nigerians about a great nation called Nigeria, the very artist who wrote the song has relocated. And I don't say that in any way other than the shared disappointment of the revelation that we're 65 today, that someone who once held this kind of passion,
enthusiasm,
realized that he would be better off with two passports, one Nigerian and some other person.
Yeah. And he can afford it. Everybody who is a person of note who can afford two passports has two passports. Even worse, they are not here anymore. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Great nation. We are all we have. Clearly, we are not all we have. They have other things.
Or we're not enough. We're gravely insufficient. And
we're probably not even
and
beginning.
If we're going to nearly be any size of anything, then you have to run, you have to relocate, you have to take your kids overseas. Like the sheer reason people take their children out of here to give them, whether it's education or a relocation, is to better their lot. Because the guess is that if you stayed here long enough,
Nigeria will happen to you.
Yeah, like you may have a fortunate lot, but you can't quite place your bet on that because of every other informing factor that informs your lot.
Somebody was killed in their home.
Yeah,
David, come on, bigger.
I think David should start going. Because if we keep on dwelling on this, we might not see the other side of life.
But I guess maybe what we're supposed to do today is to see both sides.
Yes,
maybe not deny.
There's always the both sides. Nothing is completely good or completely bad. And nothing is static in life.
It's okay.
There are issues that we look at. If we keep on dwelling on the negativity of the country, yes, we'll keep seeing a lot. But the issue is that there must be a balance. I won't blame the man that actually traveled out because he had the opportunity to do that. But do we blame him when the leader of the country goes out for medical checkup?
I do not blame him at all. It was a sensible
He did claim yesterday that we can cure cancer in Nigeria. Yeah. So I'm hoping that will be on
use
the
word
runner.
Claim, because he did claim. But the issue is that do we have the facility to do it? Yeah, there is this health tourism, there is this investment that's coming in tourism. There's nothing there that we can't do here. But the issue is that do we have that confidence?
How long have you been hearing of investments? Like how long have you been hearing this tale?
All his life.
Do you honestly think that you have enough to give to your children from in Nigeria today?
There is.
Oh, you're such an optimist. And it's good. And it's
I don't have to give up completely on this nation.
I'm not asking
but
you
the
to.
issue is that
I'm saying if you were asked as a Nigerian, what do you have to hand over to the next generation? Do you have anything?
The president
you have
the
is
hope.
enough.
That hope
You're a
is
minimalist.
still there. The hope is still there.
I did
we still
say
have to hope that this
things
country
will get better.
will get
That's
better. Just like he said, let us keep hoping. There are statistics there. There are data that we can rely on to say this. But the issue that has it tackled down, but is effort being made towards that? Yes.
Right.
Is that effort actually yielding the desired result? That is a different conversation now.
No, it's the same conversation.
Before I get into fulfilling my mandate here, I just want to say this. It's not a question of hope. It's not a question of being optimistic. The truth of the matter is that as long as Nigeria exists in the form that it does today, there would always be a chance that it can turn things around. I'm not being too optimistic in saying it. I'm saying it because history is inimitable. You cannot, there is proof that these things can happen.
Okay,
a country can be sick for
I want to quickly
hundreds of
share a
years.
message here. Someone says Timi Dakolo didn't relocate. His wife went to study in the UK and she took their kids along. Dakolo has said he can't live abroad because of his work, but he only goes to visit his family. We're saying the same thing.
The woman couldn't study here.
You know what?
All things being equal.
I thank you for bringing this up.
It's a good
we're
context.
Saying the same thing, that if we had it, then what you have, you don't go looking for.
Exactly.
So the only reason she went is because we don't have it.
But that is not the issue. Most of the people that actually fought for our freedom, our independence, we are celebrating today. Most of them had the opportunity of going outside the country.
Because we didn't have those things.
No. That we have it is a matter of choice. They went there. Do you know that if some of us should go outside the country and study and come back and bring those ideas that we learned there to implement back here, when we develop, the whole world, we are living in a global village. There are things that are in this country that some people travel to come and learn. Like my culture.
Oh, okay.
Is it not something that is worth learning? Like the way I think, like how my forefathers lived. These are things that might interest people outside that will not interest you.
Sentimentally.
Because we look up to them. It's a matter of the mindset. Let us situate this. Yes, Nigeria is blessed as a country.
I want to disagree that we look up to them.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
To you,
Yeah.
you have the right to disagree with that. But the issue is that even the clothes you're wearing, the hair you did, you are putting on, these are not Nigeria. These are not Africa.
Who tells you that this is not pressed Nigerian hair? Maybe the
It can be synthetic. Yeah, it definitely can be.
It's pressed hair.
It's pressed hair.
Yeah, I mean,
But
it's hair.
is that how our forefathers, our mothers lived?
He didn't have enough.
This was how our
knowledge
forefathers
for
lived.
hair.
No, that's not true.
This is our forefathers.
No, that's not true.
This is how.
You are not-
There's good even evidence for it. GT Basden. The pictures from
trying to imitate somebody.
No, actually.
Yeah,
There's
because
records
we didn't have
from the 20s,
hair. Oh, yeah.
the 1910s of this
I
was
just
this
said we
was
didn't have hair
we did
until they came.
and we were very creative with it.
yeah.
Did the most
In the creative
otherworldly
industry,
things with
fine,
it.
I think we are doing fine. I won't say that we're not doing fine there. But the issue is that this country, there are things that will have that others want to come and learn.
I
And
disagree.
there's some people that feel that even our weather, our climate is better. They come here to holiday, they come here to spend their money, and they come here to the Oshobo festival. Don't you see people that come to participate in that festival? Is it not something that we should look up to?
I don't think that moves the needle. I really don't. I don't think that moves the needle. Oshogo. As opposed to the tomato festival in Spain. I feel like tourism is the recourse of people who can produce. It's not an industry. I'm coming. It's not an industry that powers economies. The economies that are moving and shaking the world, the great powers of the world today. So when we say things like, people come here to come and observe festivals, we are more or less starting ourselves as circuses, as clowns, characters and clowns at a circus, because we should be doing more. We should be attracting people who come here to school. We should be attracting people who come here to gain expertise on serious industries that can move their countries forward. There was a brief time in history where it used to be like that. We should be attracting talents who come here to add value and gain, commensurate value for themselves, not just expatriates, but immigrants. That is what we should be doing. A country that is moving forward attracts immigrants. It doesn't attract expatriates. It doesn't attract people who come and take pictures of them when they are doing Atilogu in the New Yam Festival and then they go back home. It doesn't take much for us to admit that there's not much to be happy about in this part of the world. Then again, I did say that as long as the country exists in the form that it does, it is not expedient to give up hope, because the destiny of a country can be changed in a single generation. 25 years, literally, you could be seeing another side of things. Between where China was and where they are today, there was a 40-year gap, right? So that's my whole shtick.
Or even Dubai.
Yes, exactly.
Or even Dubai. Okay.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, down to the meat of my being here, which is not to talk about Nigeria. Well, it is kind of, because one player wants to put money in your pocket. 10 million naira is going to be given away today, being the 1st of October, and it has started. So it begins. Star 347 star 880 star 3 hash. If you want to collect our own money here, you could, however, dial star 347 star 880 hash to see what your options are, or go to the website at www.oneplay.ng to select the station of your choosing and start playing. You can play as much as 10 times, you can play as little as once. Know this, any ticket you play between now and the end of today qualifies you for the jackpot, so it's not still too late to play. Make sure you're above the age of 18 and make sure you are playing responsibly. Now, know this, the Lagos State Lotteries and Gaming Commission has licensed this whole thing, so you are definitely covered. That said, play responsibly and make sure you're above the age of 18 while playing. Now, in other issues, I beg to differ is back in very, very short time, and registration is ongoing. Make sure you go register through your school, that is. Make sure you are in line to argue your way to the top and claim the crown for the Tournament of Champions. Visit the website nigeriainfo.fm. Click on the I beg to differ banner, fill the form that comes thereof, and just like that, you are in. This is not just a debate. It is a gathering of champions. It's the reason why we call it I beg to differ, the Tournament of Champions. So do the thing, and we hope to see you here in November.
All right, the sunny side, 99.3 Nigeria Info. I have actually it's less than about a minute before the next commercial break. I want to give it to our guest. I want to give him a warm welcome. It's a little cold outside. I hope you're fine in the studio. A very beautiful good afternoon to you. Happy 65th country celebration. I would love for you to please introduce yourself real quick.
Yeah, my name is Ayodele Adio. How else do I introduce myself?
A current affairs analyst, okay?
Yes, current affairs analyst, reputation manager. I'm a politician on leave. What else do I? Yeah, but that's about me for now.
Okay. I mean, I kind of fancy the politician being on leave.
Yes.
Real quick, why are you on leave? No, are you legitimately a politician?
Yeah, I ran for chairman at Chosa local government.
Oh, okay, you're really in the game. So you're
election,
waiting for the next. You're waiting for 2027.
No, I think I've hung my boots for
a period.
for a period. That's I'm on leave. So.
Oh, okay. Now I get it. Lagos, we're gonna quickly go off on a break. When we come back, Onwara, myself, and Mr. Adio here on Nigeria Info's The Sunny Side. We'll be right back. The roundtable will continue shortly.
More news and information coming up. We'll be back in a moment.
This October 1st, Nigeria marks another year of independence. But the big question is, how far have we really come? From the first flag hoisted in 1960 to the challenges of today, how has Nigeria fared since independence? Have we truly managed our democratic progress? Or are we still finding our way? Join all your favorite hosts on Nigeria Info FM together at one table with special guest analysts for a no-holds-barred conversation on the Roundtable. Independence Day special. Date Wednesday, October 1st. Time 9 a.m. Don't just celebrate. Join the conversation that defines our nation. The Roundtable on Nigeria Info FM. Lagos, let's talk.
This October 1st, Lagos will shake. Get ready for the biggest night in boxing history. Chaos in the ring. From the USA to the UK, from Ghana, Tanzania, Morocco, and Nigeria, the Warriors are coming to the Mobolaji Johnson Arena. 10,000 seats, VIP lounges on the arena floor, VVIP experiences like never before.
Electrifying walkout featuring international celebrities and musicians.
This Independence Day, witness power, glory, and pride collide in the ring. Chaos in the ring. October 1st at Mobolaji Johnson Arena, Onikon, Lagos. Tickets available now at onboard.com.
For inquiries, simply call 0708-781-9376. On Instagram is at Balmora Promotions.
Don't miss history in the making. Chaos in the ring. Brought to you by Balmora Group Promotions and American Promotions.
As we mark another client service week, Cool FM, Wazobia FM, Nigeria Info, Kids FM, and Ariwa Radio want to thank and appreciate our reputable clients for your continuous patronage to our brands. All Seasons Zenith, Media Fuse, Media Reach OMD, Media Perspective, PhD Media, Equity Media Plus, Algorithm Media, Nitro 121 Media, Brands Yard, Maxi Media, Brand Eye Media, Media 100, Universal Macan, Media Seal, Globacom Media, and many more. We assure you that our outstanding and timely service delivery will always be our priority as we offer more to serve you better.
Welcome back to your number one talk, news, and sports station. This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
Quality talk.
Intelligent conversations.
Always interesting.
So engaging.
Sometimes even mind-boggling.
Nigeria Info. Nigeria Info. Ask everyone. Anyone.
Tick, says the clock. What we have to do today is worthy of note.
This is Sunny Side with Joyce, only on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
What's that station again? No.
Here's one thing you need to know about yourself. So like here we talk.
Yep, bullseye. That's the one.
You're listening to 99.3 Nigeria Info's The Sunny Side. The Sunny Side. Welcome. My name's Joyce.
voices.
I thought to myself, where is the renewed hope?
This president is one of the best that have happened to Nigeria.
APC opposition list expectations for next INEC chair.
Let's reform for the good of Nigeria.
INEC shortlists 14 associations for political party registration.
This is the first time you see that legislature is defending the executive.
Yeah. Negotiating with terrorists, and they're telling us what they want.
I don't know how else to describe it. Nigeria is no normal.
I want Nigerians to be prepared. The 2027 election is going to be an election that has been different from any other election we've experienced in Nigeria.
The conversation starts here. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Tick, says the clock. What we have to do today is worthy of note.
This is Sunny Side with Joyce, only on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
The Roundtable, 99.3 Nigeria Info. You're on the sunny side. It's 1 minute past 1 p.m. And once again, happy 65th birthday celebration, Nigeria. I really think that our purview into our conversation this afternoon would be what and who are we at 65? I think that in biology and human psychology, you start to build identity from earlier than 17, but where personal choice begin to inform character, behavior, ideology, philosophy. By the time you're 15, 17, you're facing formation. Yeah, a few errors here and there. By 25, you understand what it means to be a human being, because then you're facing challenges, you're fixing problems, you are forming a human face, you have a name, you probably have models, ideals, values, philosophies you live up to, you are pruning, you are changing, you are correcting, you're self-editing, you are breaking, you are refurbishing, you are reforming, you are terraforming, you are transforming so that you can become a being that has gone from ordinary to extraordinary, from boy to man. You go from incapable to capable, from ordinary to extraordinary. Because anybody would agree that if you are 30 and you are fractured in your philosophy, in your psychology, in your behavior, in your biology, one can distinctively make it out that something is wrong at 30. So if you want to save yourself, you try to make sure that all your life's errors fixed before you are 40. And so the proverbial, a fool at 40 is a fool forever, should maybe just also inform dialogue this afternoon. Nigeria is 65. I guess there are a few things to be happy about. There are a few things that maybe we're not so happy about. We'll attempt conversation this afternoon to highlight those, touch them, and we pray for a day where all our problems are fixed. Once again, I want to introduce Ayodele Adio. Thank you so much for being here with us this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. My name is Joyce, and we have our in-house analyst, Onwara Animwobodo. David is going to sit back to decide to be the Nigerian with little opinions. Okay, let's begin. Who and what are we at 65? I think at 65, if this were a human being, I want to begin with you, Ayodele. Who and what are we at 65? I think I'm speaking to a national or collective identity.
I think you have your fingers right on the button, because the bane of Nigeria's existence is that identity crisis. We absolutely have no clue who we are as a people. We are not clear what our worldview is. We are not clear what our objectives are as a people. And after 65 years, we haven't built a national consciousness of what it means to be a Nigerian. The only time you're a Nigerian is when you're outside the country. And people have to identify you as being a Nigerian. Then you explain yourself by saying you are from Nigeria and not a Nigerian, right? It's funny description. You say I'm from Nigeria, and you're really not Nigerian, because there is nothing that exclusively makes you Nigerian. And so, while we lament about the things that the colonialists took from us, or the exploitation, I think that the worst legacy of colonialism is the lack of identity that was bequeathed to us as a people, which should have been corrected after independence. But what we have done over the last 65 years is to journey on that road of perdition, if you asked me, because you're not going to make progress as a country when you do not have a rallying point or a rallying identity. And so we are constantly at loggerheads with each other. There's mutual distrust,
mutual suspicion
and all of that. And so we're struggling to make progress. And so you try to build a road from one point to another. And it's not about the economic impact of that road. It is whether that road is passing my region or not. It is whether the contractors who were awarded that contract is from my hometown or not. Or whether the minister is biased against my people or not. And so we just keep bickering with each other and making very little progress. And I think that until we resolve that identity question, it will be difficult for us to make progress, as a country. And I'm not surprised that we're a giant standing on spaghetti legs at 65.
Sounds like a very interesting way. I like the way you put it, Honora. I like the way you pick it up.
So the issue is that we must get to the basis. And what's the basis? When this country called Nigeria came to play, there's this donation called regional donations. The South, the East came to say, okay, we are bringing this to form the country Nigeria. Now the issue is that the unity of the federal government seems to be dictating for the regions and the state this time around, so which has made us not to actually come to that time to say we are one. Every region and state now decide to start championing the issue of ethnicity. Who am I? We don't have a well-defined.
What are we?
Yes, this is what we want to project. This is, if you hear that I'm a Nigerian, this is what I expect you to see. This is the vision and the mission statement of the country. We don't have it. We still believe, okay, if I'm not in the helm of our affair, which means we are donating, all the power that be donated to Abuja. If I'm not there in Abuja, that means I am not deciding what happens. And if I'm there at Abuja, it means I must decide what happens to others. So until we come to terms to say that this is what an average Nigerian should see, believe, propagate, and then champion, will keep on going in circles. I won't use the word spaghetti leg that he just said because because I know that the spaghetti leg can be eaten by ants and then children and then to laugh. But the issue that I think we are standing on a brass while we should be thinking of standing with an iron fixed leg.
Can I say something? The reason why our country does not have identity is because of a failure of leadership. Leadership with agency. Leadership that sits down and says, we will wrest control of a bad situation and take responsibility for fixing it. We have leaders in Nigeria today who talk as if they are ordinary citizens. How can such leaders come and tell you that they are going to set an agenda for how people who call themselves Nigerians see themselves? Leaders who complain about the problems us regular citizens complain, forgetting that it's your job. So they always see, and this has progressively gotten worse in 65 years. The leaders that were given, the mantle of leadership had an air of responsibility to them. They had a sense of agency about them for where the country was. You could see it in how they approached governance in their regions at the national level. What happened in 65 years is that at some point, very bad people with no scruples, with no morals, took power. And you see, the thing about bad people is that they tend to multiply faster than good people do. Because really, what does it take to be a bad person? Not much. So they took power, and when they did, the message became clear to everybody who was observing that this is how you do it. This is how you do it. You don't do it the right way. You behave badly because Nigerians respond well to guys who behave badly. And over time, it has now gone from just being people's behavior to being something of a culture. I won't call it a culture, but something of a culture. Because there's a sense in which Nigerians truly, truly believe in cynicism. nobody loves the country.
Dave, I won't actually allow you to go with this. You know why? Because you are giving a blanket generalization. Yes, which is wrong.
Okay, so what if... I'm going to let you... Because I think maybe the issue here would be the way we interpret, comprehend our democracy. I think democracy is what it is, and I think the way Nigerians apply themselves to the concept of a democratic system may also be the problem that we have. I don't know why it does quite appear that we're not optimizing the benefits of a democracy. But then David also raised a very fundamental point, which I'm going to give you a moment to speak on, which is that people without scruples came into power. I don't think I think I would disagree with the concept of Nigerians Nigerians easily, accept or respond to people who are bad. But I think bad people, if by character, came in and poisoned the fountain. And in their multiplication system, they spread so fast that it seems as though in not just their spreading, but in the rooting of their greed and their avarice, they're able to buy speech, buy will, buy conscience, buy freedom of another man. We are in a system where someone tells you that the Godfather system exists in a democracy. So I want you to pick it up from there.
Joyce, you can't have good leaders when you have bad followers.
Oh, you think this is a people problem?
Disagree.
Excuse me. These people that are in leadership today, they are those that are in opposition, criticizing in the past. Name them. These people that are in leadership today were the same people that actually made effort to take up leadership. The issue is that everybody must lead the way he or she understands. Until the follower decide to say, no, enough of this. This is what we want to achieve. We want to set this from this point to this point. The bottom line is that an average Nigerian, and what we are talking about bad leaders, but they came among us. They are just it's just like giving you opportunity now to be a leader tomorrow. And you now decide to leave the path of development to say, I'm going to champion that of my ethnicity, that of my family. Do we think that yesterday you were not good? No, you decided to then make. But the issue that had there been there's a defined order that this is a template that everybody will go with, then we will now hold you accountable when we are going against that template. Okay. But followers will always say, okay, it's because it's my uncle, it's because it's from my region, and that is why we're talking about the issue of having a collective identity.
You know why this is your question. Suddenly, it has evolved into, because you are a citizen now, but you are a citizen who's also, or who's had to in the past, run for office, meaning that you are ascending to the power hierarchy. So you have the advantage, or say the privilege, of seeing the country as a citizen, and then as a man who has conceptualized being in a position of power. And automatically this honestly becomes like an ethical question. So how would you approach this from both sides of the divide?
Again, unfortunately, because we're 65 today, it's important to put our fingers right, on the pulse of the country, which is that identity thing. And the reason it's important is that every time a people decide to play identity politics, it means that they jettison policy conversations. That means that your conversation as a country will no longer be about policy issues that move people forward. It will be about ethnic hate mongering. It will be, about, parochial sentiments and things like that. And the danger is that the people who thrive in identity politics are the people who are very good ethnic entrepreneurs. They are naturally not competent in building things. They just know how to spread hate. They just know how to gaslight the people to say, I'm going to protect you because some people are coming to get you. We will protect our land. We will protect our region. And that sounds like a fairy tale. And people are so-called gaslighted into it. And what you have is a crop of leaders who only know how to hate monger and not build things. And so if you looked at every election that has happened, for instance, since 2015 or perhaps 2011, it's always about it's my turn, it's this region's turn, it's this. And when the conversation is about whose turn it is, nobody's talking policy. The electorates aren't listening to policy. They just want their brother to be in power. And if that is what you are as a country, you're not going to make progress. So you have a situation where I know that this person from my region is pursuing a bad policy, but I cannot oppose him because I don't want power to shift to another place. Because I'm afraid of what will happen if Mr. Honora and his people have power. I don't know if they are going to come for me. I don't want to be traveling. I don't know if you're from Anambra or Abia. I don't want to be traveling there for political pilgrimage. So that is the problem we're having as a people. And until we resolve that question, you're not likely to have quality people emerge in the political process, because you and I are not going to be playing the politics of hate. I believe we're a bit too embarrassed to be saying, I'm from this region, vote for me, because you'll be talking policy like I did during the campaign trail. I was speaking policy, talking about what I wanted to do, but nobody was listening. Nobody cares about those kinds of conversations. Nobody was taking me up on the issues that were important to them. They were concerned about where I was from. Am I from the land? Who was my grandfather? They didn't care to look at what policy I was offering. And so we can't make progress collectively like this. So I believe that, since we know what the elephant in the room is, why don't we address it? And then we sit down and get leaders that can then build that national identity for us. Because as we speak, I just don't know. You're talking opposition now. Every time it's in the news, you hear people saying, oh, if it's not going to be zoned to the south, oh, count me out of this measure. If it's not going what is South North when we have a GDP per capita that is 2 times smaller than that of Ghana, 3 times smaller than that of the Ivorians, $860. You're actually one of the most poorest people in the world.
Very poor.
But we're talking is south, is north, is this, is everyday villages are being ransacked by terrorists. People are leaving their homes. They can't sleep in their houses. Bandits are collecting levies and taxes from communities so brazenly. And all we just want to talk about is it is going to the south or the north. We just have to wake up and smell the coffee.
I would stand on this. Look, every nation on earth starts somewhere. And nothing annoys me more than when we talk about our problems as if we are the first ones to have them. When we talk about our diversity as if it's an albatross that no other nation on earth has had to deal with. In 1945, I believe it was, or 1946, Indonesia gained independence. Within 20 years, they had evolved a language that I think it was Sukarno who was the military head of state. He was a military head of state. But he had the initiative to say 17,000 islands and archipelagos, different ethnic groups, we need something that holds us together. That is leadership. Of course, he ended up being bad in many other respects. But that is the kind of initiative that leadership can provide. Every nation that has moved forward was lucky or proactive enough to put somebody in power who was serious enough to recognize that the destiny of millions lies in your hands, and if you are not careful, things can go awry. That is one thing we have not been lucky to have in Nigeria. The China we talk about today, for the first 20 plus years of coming out of war, they were comatose. In the name of keeping the party in power, somebody ended up killing tens of millions of people. In the name of, a 5-year plan that didn't work, many people died on the account of it. What did it take to take them from there to where they are now? Serious leadership.
18 minutes past 1 p.m. Welcome. If you have just joined in, you're listening to 99.3 Nigeria Info. You're on the sunny side. I really have the pleasure of having Mr. Ayodele Adio here, who is joining us live in the studio. Honora Aniwobodo, our in-house analyst. David, my colleague, myself. Today, Nigeria at 65. We're taking your questions, and I would love for you to please just go to the question, or if you have any contributions you'd like to make, I'd love for it to be concise, to be precise, just so that I can quickly read it and share with my colleagues in the studio so they can speak on it if necessary, or maybe counter, agree, disagree, if that's exactly what your contribution may require. Okay. Nigeria at 65. I remember growing up and there was a mantra of the future of this country. And I'm not sure whether they did it to encourage us to be hopeful, to stand, fight, believe in a future, or they did it out of nothing better to do. You know how it is where you have a not so thought out idea. It was having a future tomorrow. And for me, I tend to appreciate responsibility. One, because it saves you time. Two, because it forms identity. Three, it allows for the liberty of the expression of human freedom. If you say you are free, I think it's terribly beautiful for you to express freedom. There is something that truly liberates your soul for you to not just say it, but for you to act it. It's also like redemption, where you have been redeemed and you act as though you have been redeemed, because there's something about when a philosophy, it's true, but it's true not only in your mind, it's true in your reality. So I grew up and they told us we're the leaders of tomorrow, and I believed it. In fact, there was no reason to not believe it. But you see, I've grown into a world where they did not even believe it. They didn't have any framework with which they worked their way into a yesterday for a today. There was no reference point. There was no guardrails. There were no guardrails that said, okay, we're here today and our projection is in 20 years, this is what we will be. So I'm in a future and I look at my past. I'm almost grateful for my past. There's barely much to be grateful for in the future, because it's as though we're going to hand over this same uncertainty to the next generation, or at least this variant of certainty to a future. I think it brings us to the question of, one, the people and what the people want or should want. I want to begin with you, Mr. Ayodele. I know it's a little difficult for you to define a philosophy that can bind you and I. In fact, I have only just met you today, so I do not know that you and I may agree on anything besides the color of our skin, which we can't quite debate. Maybe you like food and I like food too. But if you and I are going to have a Nigeria tomorrow, we have to agree on something, even though we have not met. Because I think many times when I hear the arguments between Nigerians, they're arguing like strangers. They're arguing as though they don't know what they're dealing with. They're arguing as though they don't have uniformity of problems. They're arguing as though insecurity is good for one person and not good for the other. They're arguing as though rice is cheaper for one person and expensive for the other. They're acting as though when they get to the hospital and they show their face card, that the hospital gives them free health care. They're arguing as though there is a privilege that's accorded to one group and not afforded to the other. They're acting as though they don't comprehend their problem. So, I'm going to leave it there. You pick it up.
Well, I guess that's the kind of, that's the politics that we have built for ourselves. It's made us selfish as ethnic groups, which has cascaded to being selfish as individuals, right? So we no longer are compassionate towards each other, right? I mean, I grew up in the North. I was born in the North, and growing up in my earlier days in primary and junior secondary school in northern Nigeria, we used to eat together, in mats and in tents outside. It didn't matter. And it's strange to say today, but we used to mock ourselves as kids. They would say, why in the world do you dance in churches like you guys are running out of your minds, or like it's a party? And we'll make the joke that, why are you hitting your head on the ground when you're praying, and things like that. And we laugh about it. We eat, we play football together. And in a space of 10, 15 years, we've grown to remarkably hate each other, such that the place that I was born in, when I step there today, I no longer recognize it. In fact, I'm tensed to be in the place that I grew up in. Right? So it's because we've become so isolated. We're so selfish that it doesn't matter how many bombs are dropped on you as a people. As long as it's not my people in quote, we can move on. Maybe it's your political choice that has brought about the consequences of that action. And again, so I think what we want as a people should normally be the same. We want progress as a country, right? Young people want jobs. We want roofs over our heads. We want, food to be reasonably affordable. We want to be able to retire in our own homes and send our children to the best schools, right? But I guess when the politics of religion and ethnicity mixes with that, those things no longer matter anymore, as long as, it's my brother who has the power.
We're going to quickly go for a break, Lagos. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Roundtable. You're on the sunny side. We're Nigeria Info. Don't go anywhere.
This October 1st, Nigeria marks another year of independence. But the big question is, how far have we really come? From the first flag hoisted in 1960 to the challenges of today, how has Nigeria fared since independence? Have we truly managed our democratic progress? Or are we still finding our way? Join all your favorite hosts on Nigeria Info FM together at one table with special guest analysts for a no-holds-barred conversation on the Round Table. Independence Day special. Date Wednesday, October 1st. Time 9 a.m. Don't just celebrate. Join the conversation that defines our nation. The Round Table on Nigeria Info FM. Lagos, let's talk.
Say hello, Lagos. Hello, Port Harcourt. Hello, Abuja. This is Kids FM, the family fun radio. Kids FM is packed with exciting drama, engaging games, inspiring stories, great music, and the kind of conversations that bring families even closer. From sunrise to sunset, we've got something special for everyone in the family. Kids FM is fun for children, cool for teens, and just perfect for parents. It's more than radio.
It's packed with educational content such as language shows, quizzes, storytelling, fun facts, and many more.
It's a family experience you can count on every single day. So, wherever you are, Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja, or anywhere around the world, you can tune in live on 101.7 Kids FM or stream online at kidsfm.ng. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at kids.fm.ng for all the fun updates, giveaways, and behind-the-scene moments. Kids FM, let's play!
Are you finding it difficult listening to your favorite talk radio Nigeria Info via the mobile app? Come closer. Let me fix that for you. Now, launch the app on your device. Click the 3 lines on the top left corner of the app. Look for settings in the drop-down menu and click on it. Turn on the first option that you see. Make sure you turn on the option that says always use highest quality available audio. Now that you have done that, close the app and relaunch it.
get what Honora has to say about what the people should want. You heard him earlier, because I'm speaking as to what was, what is, what we should want instead of our differences, which we seem to be rather caught up in, which I think is a function of a lack of intelligence, to be honest.
Every individual should be optimistic. What do we want as a country? I'm a Nigerian, so I should speak as a Nigerian. I want a better country. I want a country that is cohesive. I want a country that I will see my brother from the other end and say yes.
Who's your brother in this? Because that's
My
what
brother,
I think we keep
my brother
misdefining.
is that human being that they call a Nigerian. It is, but the issue is that how many are we that actually believe that an average Yoruba man, an average Hausa man, and a Ibibio man is my brother? Until we start working on that mental state of knowing that for the fact you're a Nigerian, you are related, because if we leave the shore of this country, nobody will address you on the ethnicity or the house you came from. They will call you a Nigerian. And that's the reason why if you see a Nigerian that commits a crime, they always want to burn other Nigerians' property, because they grouped you as a Nigerian. Until we start coming to that term that really we need to work for a collective achievement, a collective goal. Because if this country is good, it's not going to be good for only Yorubas, Hausa, or Igbo. No, it's going to be good for Nigerians. That is the vision, that is the mindset we should start having. We shouldn't start allowing, because we keep on complaining, and they know that we keep complaining that they are using religion and ethnicity to divide us. And they keep on amplifying it to ensure that they sit tight. If you and I decide to say enough of this nonsense, let us forget about religion. Let us forget about ethnicity. Let us forget about whether I'm white or black. But let us focus on this issue of throwing up people that will have one vision of coming with one Nigeria. The problem is that once they start seeing you as somebody that's working towards having a unified Nigeria, you'll be a target to be eliminated. You'll be a target to be set aside to say, yes, he is not actually coming for us. He is against us because we are in power. If I stand here to say that all the economy is bad, the first thing that will come to the mind of some people that are listening is that, what is his name? Where is he coming from? Okay, his name is Honor. We know he's obese people. They will categorize you without saying, what is this guy saying? Is it actually going to get to the development? Nobody. We have enough in this country to actually develop. We don't have any reason to be complaining for at this 65 years of our age. No, we don't have any. Go to India. India is just few years older than us. But we're being colonized by the same people. But today they are celebrating. What are they celebrating? Somebody was conscious enough to actually say enough is enough. There are other issues that are there that are peculiar to them, but we equally have some issues that we share in common. The same thing with Malaysia. 5 years after they got theirs, where are they now? So when we talk about Nigerian at 65 and people, I say no. When we should be talking in terms of development, it's not the statistics that are being read out from MBS and the rest of them. No, we should be doing peer review mechanism, comparing our nation with other nations that have the similar problem that we have, until we start addressing the issue of that identity, because you just made mention of identity politics. When we start addressing these very issues, that means that Nigerians will start seeing that really this is what we want. We don't have back to my initial, we don't have a common goal, we don't have a common agenda, don't have a common vision of this is what we want to achieve as a country.
Yeah. Okay. We're live streaming we're live streaming on YouTube, Nigeria Info FM on YouTube. I think I wanted to speak about education, but I want to leave that for now and go into insecurity. I don't know. Does anybody in this studio have? And at this point, the insecurity problem in Nigeria is posing to be quantum physics, or at least they're making it appear so. And recently, the Nigerian government put out a communique, or more like it was a public notice, denying what was trending on social media, which was, I think, podcasters around the world and people started noticing and talking about the genocide in the north of Christians. And the presidency said, oh, no, that's not what's happening. That to categorize it as a genocide would be to minimize the complexity of it. So Mr. Ayodele. I don't like talking about insecurity. One, because I hate the powerlessness with which I'm confronted by. I hate to speak about the deaths of people, deaths you can't explain, and for no just cause at that. But the government has consistently claimed that they're doing something about it. So, you are a Nigerian. What is your comprehension of what has been, what is, to decide whether you think the government is doing something about it? Or doing enough about it?
I mean, it's clear, even it's visible to the blind, that insecurity has worsened over the years, right? I was just telling you that there was a time that you could travel, 11 p.m. at night from Kano to Kaduna, up the way to Abuja. In fact, when you land at Naibawa Motor Park in Kano at 12 midnight, you have buses that are going to Maiduguri, Yobe. And, without a flinch of thought, you get into the bus and you go, because it was equally safe to travel all the way, through Azare, Pottiscombe down to Maiduguri without any fear. Now, what has happened in the last 30 years are three things, perhaps four things. There's a geopolitical dimension, there's a socioeconomic dimension, obviously there's a weakening of internal security architecture, and obviously, the question of identity. And, I'll just touch on each of them, very, very, briefly. First of all, the issue of justice in our country it has a direct correlation to violence, which is the lack of justice for communities, for individuals across the country, has been the primary resort for people to pick up arms against the Nigerian state. So if you ask any group, and this is public documents, the Daily Trust newspaper did an interview, with two of the leaders of the bandits in 21, Bello Turji, and the one in 22. And every time these individuals were asked why they pick up arms against the state, it started because in Bello Turji's instance, he said, his families had their cows and everything taken away from them. They went from community level across to seek justice. They couldn't get help. And that was the first time he sold all he had to buy a gun, to pick up arms against the state. And that's the story of the Niger Delta militants. If you see how they also picked up arms against the state, it was because nobody was listening to them. And, they picked up arms against the Nigerian state. So if you look at every non-state actor in this country, whether it's IPOB, whether it's, the bandits in the north, call them whatever, it starts largely because no one is listening to a group of people go through very deplorable situations until they pick up arms against the state. Unfortunately, the Nigerian state has also legitimized that by only listening to people that threatens its existence. So if you demonstrate ability to hold territory, to take arms against the state, you are rewarded with all sorts of perks, like it happened in the Niger Delta, like it's being done now with certain bandits who are coming for peace deals, to be given monetary compensations and things like that. And that has led to more people willing to take up arms against the state. The second is the geopolitical dimension, and this is very, very important because you have a situation in the Sahel today where, there are people you call the orphans of the Sahara, those who fought, in Mali and in Libya, who are traveling acres of kilometers without anywhere to go. Many of them are ethnically Fulani, for instance, but they have been trained in various war, and all they have is a gun and the skill to be able to wage violence against communities. The porosity of our own borders hasn't helped because over time, these people can stroll into Sokoto, for instance. They can stroll into Maiduguri. They can stroll into Yobe because of the borders that we have. And historically, they have always moved in and out of these communities. We welcome them because, there's the idea that, we are brothers, especially from that side of the region with the people on the other end. But what has happened over time is that these people who are trained mercenaries in many of these parts of the Sahel now come into Nigeria and wage war against our people and hold territory in many of these communities, right? And that brings the question, the competence of the state, because you can travel hundreds of kilometers in many places, for instance, in northern Nigeria, and not find a police station. And where you even find a police station, it's a glorified Boy Scout. Even the Boy Scouts will even do better, right? So they do not have the capacity to keep the peace in many of the communities that they claim to be operating in. So this has given licenses to people across those places to hold territory and to wage war against the people. And what many people don't know, what we don't even read about here, is that, recently people were shocked seeing bandits roll on bikes in broad daylight. This has been happening for close to 10 years. There are celebrities in many of these places because there is no security apparatus that can hold the peace in many of those places. So when people talk, in press conferences in Abuja, talking about how well they have done in improving the security of our country, it's an insult to the people who are dying every day. And because we are dead in our conscience, many of us, especially in Lagos, because we're sipping lattes and eating muffins every day. We're dead in our conscience and do not realize that the numbers coming out are staggering. How can you be having tens of thousands of people die in your country every year and you're not in a civil war? So I think primarily, except we fix internal security, you don't have a police that is built for purpose, first of all. You have a police that is set up for regime security, a colonial relic that is just there to protect those in power and not you and I. I have argued severally that the police need to be disbanded and rebuilt from scratch. There's no two ways about it. This police cannot work, right? You need to properly build a police system that is reflective of our own reality. You need policing that understands the geography of the places where they are sent to police. In this instance, you have people who you are taking to areas that they have no clue whatsoever where they are sent to. So except these reforms are done at a national, community and state level, insecurity is going to worsen. And I'm afraid today they are in Kwara. If you look at the map, it means they are just meters away from Oyo. And that means, of course, inadvertently, no time they will be at the economic heart of the country. So you can't just sleep at home and believe that it's their own problem. It's not going to come to you because you're in Victoria Island when they're already in Ilorin and people are running away from their homes in Kwara State. And in no time, they are likely going to be in Oyo. In fact, they were in Oyo State for a long time until the Amotekun pushed many of them outside of the forest. And so I'm afraid that we're playing with fire, really and truly, because we just don't have a leadership. And that's where I agree with him 100%. You just seem not to have a leadership that has this sense of urgency. They're in their SUVs, tinted glasses, and just believe that they are safe where they are.
By men
I just don't understand this.
Yeah. I want to get your opinion on insecurity in Nigeria real quick.
Yeah, in the area of insecurity, I think a lot of factors actually contributed to it. What is happening in Sahel is another thing. Armed proliferation. And most of our politicians, they buy guns for political exigencies. And then when it is over, to collect it back will be a problem. So there are a lot of arms.
Soft arms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All around the... So, and there's possibility that once you feel that you are not getting justice, or you are actually being terrorized, or things that you are looking for is not there, and you have an arm, you take laws into your hand. So a lot of ungoverned spaces, like what he said, our borders are porous, have a lot of open borders that are not being manned, are not being checked. Yeah. People walking and walking. If they ask you now who is in Nigeria, we don't even have a database to see this and this happens to be a Nigerian. So anybody can come in here, get our national identification number, get voter's card, and becomes a Nigerian. Because there's nothing in us that shows that nobody can identify this is where the person is coming from. Or it's not. So you walk in and walk out because the borders are not checked.
You want to say something?
Yes, I want to say something. The reason why many countries in the world put an emphasis on competence in leadership is because there is a very visible and imminent threat. You know why Israel can't have the kind of corruption scandals we have? It's because if they do, the ability of the state to protect itself in a neighborhood where everybody wants to obliterate them becomes, it becomes very, very far-reaching.
Very far-reaching.
We don't have a government that sees their incompetence as a threat to the very, sanctity of the nation. Because see what happens. We are in a new world order where for the last 80 to 100 years, countries are allowed to exist, whether they are rotting, internally or, whatever is going on internally, they are allowed to exist. In the world before 1900, when you are this incompetent, when you are this poor at protecting your own people, you don't get to exist for this long. That is the natural way. That is the natural way where civilizations happen. If you fail to evolve, you will be destroyed, and they will never speak. And
it wasn't about civilization. It was about power.
No. It's about power. Yes, but you see, civilizations come out of the necessity to protect themselves from enemies. If you fail to protect yourself from enemies, you will disappear from the face of the earth. And what will be spoken of you is in your relics and your ruins. And this was how Rome disappeared. My point bringing it home is that these people do not realize that their incompetence endangers the very civilizations and ethnic groups that they claim to talk about. They don't realize when you steal from the national treasury, it hampers the ability of your army to be ready. It hampers the ability of your army to get arms. It dampens morale. And what then happens is that insecurity propagates. Because you see, corruption it's not even a 3-headed monster. It's not a 7-headed. It's not a 10-headed monster. It creates so many problems down the chain that can't be solved.
We have to correct it, because when Dave, you keep saying these people. No. Let us contextualize this. Let us put it.
No, we have leaders and then we have people. No.
One day you might throw I refuse. Let us not distinguish between them.
This is something. This is a problem I have when people talk about the country. You see, we keep acting as if we are. Then there's something I was going to address earlier on. You said, the leaders are products of our societies. Let me tell you something. There are no good people or bad people anywhere in the world. The South Koreans are just as corrupt as us, if they are allowed to get away with it. So who is the onus on to put barriers and put guardrails and say, if you misbehave, there will be consequences? That is the meat of the social contract. I surrender my ability to protect myself to you. And in return, you guarantee me prosperity, or at least the ability to feed my children, and you guarantee me protection for my life and my property.
America is a very good example.
We are not special upon the face of the earth. I keep saying this thing. We are not different. We keep saying things like, the leaders are products of the people. In essence, so you are saying that people are bad. No, we are not different from the Malaysians. There are just as many criminal gangs in that country. There are just as many scammers in that country. There are just as many petty criminals in that country. The difference between them and us is that they have a leadership that understands that crime and punishment go hand in hand. That if you do well, you should be given the carrot. If you do bad, you should be flogged. The carrot and stick approach. But we keep acting as if we are different, that our problems are unique. No, we are not.
Okay, so I also want to say that there is a reason the head is different from the tail. There's a reason the head is different from the neck. There's a reason the head is different
Thanks for everybody.
From the torso. It's that responsibility is on the head. And I think you try to also burden the Nigerian people with the responsibility and maybe the consequence of what we see in the country today. You say it's not just the leadership, it's also the people. You have quite a point, except no, you don't quite have a full point. Because if the leadership cannot be different from the people, if there isn't the arrowhead to drive the projection of the arrow, it's not an arrow. So the reason there is the arrowhead is that we're determining projection. You are going somewhere, and so you say this is how we go. There's a determination. There is a determining force. There is a projection. There's a plan. There's a framework. There's a head to go ahead. In the absence of the functionality of the head, or say the head does not fully comprehend its utility, then you're looking for someone else to blame. I think it's easy to blame the people. But the head has the responsibility to establish order, to bring about correction, to enforce law. When the head fails, I get it that you want the people to rise, but I also think that we need to mention that it's the head, the problem of the head. That's why they have the money, they have the resource, they have the manpower, they have the color of authority to establish the system of order when they fail, I think you should hold them accountable. Yes, I do agree that the people need to hold them accountable. But I insist that the head be made to come. The head is saddled with the fundamental responsibility
until and
of
unless
what can be determined
Nigerians
as an
decide
outcome.
to say enough is enough. Until and unless the leaders got to know that really they will be held accountable. Until and unless the leaders know that there are consequences for every action and inaction they take, they will keep on behaving the way they're behaving.
I agree with you.
Just a minute. Let Ayo speak.
I think I understand his point 100%, because the leaders come from amongst us, even though it's questionable how they emerge in places of authority. But they are propped up by people like you and I, mostly educated, white collar wearing, well-traveled individuals. It will shock you. And I mean, if you run for office, and I think how you go for 1 year NYC, that's compulsory. I think it's important for people to also run for office so that you can feel the pulse of your people, and then you'll be shocked and scandalized by the fact that you thought that you were a majority, which is right thinking and wanting the right thing. That's the first shocker you would have. That indeed I'm in a minority, a shocking minority. When you go from community to community, people are asking you for money. People are asking you, what are you going to give me?
After all this
right?
big drama.
So if I spend all this money, if I sell my house, I sell my car to give you monies to get into office, especially even on election day where people are playing football, they want you to give them money to go and vote. Why should I then be answerable to you when I get into office? Because you already have shown me that
you don't
the
care.
matters of the state don't really matter to you,
and that
right?
you can be bought.
Exactly, that you can be bought.
You have a
exactly. And so what they do when they get to office, they buy a few people in every community. Now it's also easy. You buy a few people on social media, to parrot your propaganda and things like that, and you sit pretty comfortably, right? So I understand what he says when he says, the people also need a bit of change of orientation to say, listen, I say this jokingly, even if you're going to collect money to vote, raise your price, make it 100,000 naira and sell it openly. Say my price is 100,000 naira to vote. So if as a politician, I know it is 100,000 times XY, maybe I better start to beg you and promise you other things than bribing you to vote. But if you're going to sell at 500, listen, there were people in my constituency that gave interviews openly, excited that they came out to vote because of jollof rice and Fanta. Right? It's a problem. It's a real problem.
Should I be
it's a problem.
Let me add something.
It's a problem.
I said something when we began this. I said, look.
Now that in Delta, Delta, I saw a banner. No, I saw something worse. Okay. In Delta, I think it was 2023 or the election year before that. They said vote and get a cara.
let me add something. See, at the beginning I said we've let bad people take leadership, right? There is a subtle battle going on in every society between good and evil. Most people are not in that fight. Most people don't really care. They just want to have families, raise their children. The concerns for them are very, very mundane, not particularly profound. There is a small, subset of people who are good, another who are bad. Now, the fight is between these two people. If you win, you now get to impose your ideology on the rest of society. And so what has happened in Nigeria's case is that the bad people have won too many times. So these evil traits that we talk about have been allowed to germinate.
99.3 Nigeria Info, the sunny side. The Roundtable. I think I really appreciate how much time we have attempted to spend on trying to comprehend our collective identity. It seems as though that's maybe even the root cause of every other problem that has projected itself, every lateral concern that has beset us, or the challenges that have beset us. And I don't know why that's not even a national conversation, because maybe when we fix that, we can begin to fix other things. We're going to quickly go off on a break. We'll be right back. We're 99.3. This is Nigeria Info. You're on the Roundtable. You're on the sunny side.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We'll be right back.
As we mark another client service week, Cool FM, Wazobia FM, Nigeria Info, Kids FM, and Ariwa Radio want to thank and appreciate our reputable clients for your continuous patronage to our brands. Coca-Cola, Netflix, Nestle PLC, Tolerap, MTN, Airtel, Jameson's, Dambik IBTC, Nigerian Breweries, from Masada, Floor Mills of Nigeria, International Breweries, Friesland Campina, Guinness, Terra Group, South African Tourism, Fan Yogo, House on the Rock, Reliance HMO, Samsung, Oando, Amatem, Indrive, Total Energies, Bolt, Mamador, LG, Big Bull, Salonpass, PNG, UAC, Dabur India Limited, Cadbury, PalmPay, Nivea, Jumia, BetKing, Emirate Airline, MoneyPoint, Mocha Foam, Sterling Bank, Devon King,
and many more.
We assure you that our outstanding and timely service delivery will always be our priority as we offer more to serve you better.
Everyone says I'm beautiful and bold. They say I'm fashionable. And to crown it up, very confident. And my secret is...
People say I'm good looking, funny, hardworking, and to crown it up, very confident. And my secret is...
So whether in the office or at home,
in the streets or on the dance floor,
anytime, any day, I never lose my confidence. And the secret to my confidence is Wazobia perfume.
Absolutely. Wazobia perfume gives the authenticity and long-lasting fragrance all day. That's my secret confidence.
Wazobia perfume is available in body spray.
Also available in supermarkets and markets near you. Wazobia perfume, the correct scent. As we mark another client service week, Cool FM, Wazobia FM, Nigeria Info, Kids FM, and Ariwa Radio want to thank and appreciate our reputable clients for your continuous patronage to our brands. Arla Foods, United Bank of Africa, Leadway Assurance, ARM, Zenith Bank, MasterCard, LifeScore Bet, Bet Niger, Sosa Drink, Hero Hunter, Pocari Sweat, Bet Power, Pepsi, Supreme Noodles, Avon HMO, Lafarge, Access Bank, Sweet Nutrition Limited, PZ Cousins, Techno, Xiaomi,
and many more.
We assure you that our outstanding and timely service delivery will always be our priority as we offer more to serve you better.
99.3 Nigeria Info, your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
Are you looking for the right path to study, live, or work abroad? Then the chance has come because the Jakwa Summit with Uzo Duroba of Wazobia FM is here. Don't miss out on the opportunity to gain invaluable insights, have access to travel loans, learn proven strategies, get insider tips, network with industry leaders, have one-on-one discussions with seasoned travel experts, and take the very next step towards achieving your traveling goals. The date, Saturday, the 4th of October 2025. The time, 12 noon prompt. Don't be late. The venue is the 5th floor of the ITF building, Funshaw Williams Avenue, Iponri, Costain, Lagos. The access fee is 20,000 naira per head. For reservations and other inquiries, call 0802 383-1303 or 0802-377-0699. Hurry up and secure your spot because seats are filling up like that. Now, this event is powered by Strong Voice Media and proudly supported by Wazobia FM, Cool FM, and Nigeria Info. Note, we are not in the business of giving away visas.
And more voices.
I thought to myself, where is the renewed hope?
This president is one of the best that have happened to Nigeria.
APC opposition list expectations for next INEC chair.
Let's reform for the good of Nigeria.
INEC shortlists 14 associations for political party registration.
This is the first time you see that legislature is defending the executive.
Negotiating with terrorists, and they're telling us what they want.
I don't know how else to describe it. Nigeria is no normal.
I want Nigerians to be prepared. The 2027 election is going to be an election that has been different from any other election we've experienced in Nigeria.
The conversation starts here. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
We are 99.3, and this is Nigeria Info. Happy holidays to you. I'm hoping that you're truly having yourself a restful day, that for sure, and that you do not lose faith. For us to contend, to properly comprehend with the challenges that beset us as a nation, we have to not give up, to not lose the spirit of a fight, the fight to contend with the things we don't want, the things we don't agree with, the things we need, particularly the things we need to change. We're in the world and we contend with displeasures, but fundamentally, we're in the world. We contend with evil, and evil can have different faces. It can pose to be, the angel of light, and then you must figure it out, and you must correct the error or the error. You must correct the positioning. You do that because of the benefit of having justice and rightness or righteousness in the country. And to be indifferent to that sort of thinking, to be indifferent in disposition, to be uninterested in what I would regard as the persuasion to change your country for the better, automatically means that you give consent to be victimized by the system you chose to do nothing about. We're on YouTube. We're live streaming Nigeria Info FM on YouTube. I'm having two doctors join me in the studio. I want to quickly go off on a break, catch my breath. You blink twice, and we'll be back on the air. Don't go anywhere. My name's Joyce. Tick, says the clock. What we have to do today is worthy of note.
This is Sunny Side with Joyce, only on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Quality talk.
Intelligent conversations.
Always interesting.
So engaging.
Sometimes even mind-boggling.
Nigeria Info. Ask everyone. Anyone. 99.3 Nigeria Info, the sunny side. It's 3 minutes past 2 p.m. and I thought we'll be rounding off by 2 o'clock. But this is as intense as it is interesting. I still have with me in the studio Onwara Aniwobodo, colleague, who now has a shuttle as co-host, and Mr. Ayodele Adio. I have joining me Dr. Patrick Ijewere. Sir, good afternoon to you again.
Greetings. Good afternoon to
you, so
Joyce.
Good to have you. I'm so glad that you're here. And then he came in with a guest, Dr. Edith Williams. Good afternoon to you, and thank you very much. I would love for you to tell us a little bit about your expertise. You are a medical doctor.
Correct.
And what else do we need to know? What's your specialty?
Pretty much. My specialty is in creating healthcare solutions. So, my name is Dr. Williams, like I said. I'm the founder and CEO of the Elite Medical Team, which is about the first professional comprehensive home healthcare service in Nigeria.
Okay.
I'm bridging the gap for healthcare access and the medical resourcing like has never been done before.
All right, we like that. I like the fact that it sounds futuristic. So today, Nigeria is 65, and we're talking about elements of what makes us Nigerian. Before you stepped in, we've been talking about our collective identity. I wanted to talk about education with my guests who were in the studio before you stepped in. Not enough time to speak on that, but now that you are here, I think we want to stretch the conversation or open it up a little bit more to take the medical sector into or absorb the medical sector into our conversation. Nigeria at 65, and I want to ask you, Dr. Edith, Williams, Nigeria at 65. Why? What is now? First of all, you're a really young doctor, and one of the more common issues. Oh, you're young looking? Okay. So there is, before I go into the reasons the doctors are, leaving the country, there is the challenges facing the medical sector today. In your opinion, what do you suppose is happening to the medical sector in Nigeria today at 65? Because I think some issues should have been fixed before now, but hey, we're here. What do you know?
Okay, so that's a mammoth-sized question.
And what's wrong, what's going on. So the healthcare sector in Nigeria has a plethora of issues currently, much as it does have a lot of people doing a lot of great things. I mean, yeah, but when you talk about the balance, we're still kind of like in a medical emergency generally, and it's highly underdeveloped. Really, the primary thing I'll just say is there's a lack of attention to it. And there's a massive irresponsibility from the government and the powers that be. Let's put it in a more generic term. So there's gross irresponsibility. Of course, there's the regular corruption all around Nigeria. But I mean, when it comes to healthcare, there's almost an absolute neglect. So it doesn't seem important. It doesn't seem to be important to the government. Doesn't seem to be important. It doesn't seem to be an important Nigerian thing. So it gets the backbench, it gets the crumbs, it gets whatever is left really. And what you have as the current healthcare system really is the efforts of individuals that are putting on life support, pretty much. So that's what you have left that's breathing, and you have a lot of people complaining, and you don't even realize that if certain people were not courageous enough to stand up and do certain things that they didn't necessarily have a responsibility to do, you wouldn't have anything to fall back on. So if you were in for instance, Lagos is kind of like the epicenter of healthcare in Nigeria, really, aside from the fact that the AMC came up in Abuja recently. Prior to that, you basically had all of or most of the standard healthcare facilities in Lagos, and very evidenced by the amount of traffic you have coming to Lagos for health tourism within the country. So you have people coming from Enugu, from the north, for some basic stuff that should be able to be done regionally at least. So let's talk about the public health care sector to begin with, because that's where you begin to consider what is affordable for the masses. Healthcare generally. In fact, the problems are so. As I'm talking about it, several things are unveiling. I don't know.
I would like for you to write them down. You can touch on them.
So maybe you want to talk about healthcare financing. There's literally zero. Let's start. That's the most obvious problem. There's literally zero functional healthcare financing. It doesn't mean that
HMO or government investment in terms of financing.
So when you say HMO, what you have outside of the private HMOs, like I said, is the NHIA, and the NHIA covers basically
painkillers.
Oh boy, you don't. Let me just say, you don't want to need help and be covered by strictly the NHIA.
I like the way you put that.
Yeah, you don't want to need help and be covered by strictly that. So healthcare financing is literally zero. Functional. I'm saying functional. So somebody can come and say, there's this program, there's that program, there's something that doesn't treat malaria more than twice in a month in a malaria endemic country is not quite an insurance you like to depend on. Something that can cover a CT scan in a year, something that can cover quite a number of basic things, are just not covered. So the payment for healthcare is almost entirely out of pocket. And healthcare is extremely expensive in any country. It's not a Nigerian thing. Healthcare is expensive everywhere in the world. The only reason why it's affordable to citizens in other countries is because they have a responsible government that considers it important, budgets towards it. Up until today, I think our healthcare budgeting is less than 10% of the budget.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. Less than 10% is actually very generous. It's actually less than 7%. It's actually somewhere around 4.5%.
Yeah, actually so 5.
Yeah, I'm trying to be, I don't know, it's 65, so I'm trying to be nice.
Generous.
Yeah. So, there's no healthcare financing, and without healthcare financing, it can't work. So I say something a lot of times. I say there's either cheap healthcare or good healthcare.
What do we have?
None.
Okay.
But you do have, when you say, what do we have? Is that in the public sector or in the private sector?
Well, so public sector, because I think that's really where much of the Nigerian population
can
absorbed.
go to.
Yeah.
I will tell you a very simple story that I saw on Instagram. A lady was giving a very beautiful testimony. I'm a Christian and I love the Lord Jesus, and it was a very lovely testimony from another Christian. And she said how that she was saved, in a medical emergency. However, something very important stuck out to me in that story. She had needed to go to lawsuit, yes, and for the emergency to be responded to, according to her testimony, the governor called the commissioner to get any doctor to be able to respond to her at that time. Now that is mind-blowing. In a teaching hospital, why do I need to have a governor call the commissioner so that they can ensure that there is a doctor to receive me in a teaching hospital? Well, I'll tell you the reason why. Because 9 out of 10 times that you hit up lawsuit for an emergency, there are no beds, supposedly. Whether it's real or it's fake, the almost permanent story is there are no beds.
When I said something to the effect of how young you looked, was because I'm used to speaking to doctors who are gray-headed. What we have become accustomed to would be young people who are either frustrated that they're in Nigeria, they are not moving up the hierarchy, they feel like they are being stifled by the system, and the next opportunity they want, even if it's going to be through a magic carpet ride, even if it's a magic carpet, is anything that
get out.
Anything takes it.
Oh,
I'm surprised.
well, that's not
I was
me.
a little surprised.
Yeah.
A young guy who's still here is like.
Okay, so
my next question is, why haven't you gone?
Why haven't I gone? Because I just might be the hope of the system.
Look, and I think I like that. So when you say you just might be the hope of the system, you are trying to be careful with the way you describe what might be the degradation in the system.
Correct.
But I think it's necessary that you attempt to touch the line if, by your judgment, you don't cross it. How bad is it? Because you say that
how
the
bad is
government
it? No. I can tell you how. Look, we have been in a medical emergency for the past 15 years. Not today. We've been in a medical emergency.
With a brain drain, what are we looking at in terms of figures?
With a brain drain, it's scary to consider what we're looking at with the brain drain. When you consider the brain drain, without the brain drain, there's already a massive problem. I'll give you a very simple analogy. If you have a hemorrhagic stroke at Shongotedo, you are not very likely to have a good outcome. And I mean, this is still.
So what are you?
This is still.
About your brain?
This is still within metropolitan Lagos.
Yeah.
If you have that in that place, say by 2 a.m. Yeah, let me make that specific. By 2 a.m. you have that within that place, you are not very likely to have a good outcome. Why?
Okay.
Because principles for or policies for responding to that is that you're supposed to have a CT scan within the first 30 minutes to be able to let you know if it's a hemorrhagic or an ischemic stroke, which will then determine what kind of life-saving methods would be deployed to reducing the morbidity of that. And if you don't, now the way you treat is very interesting. They are both strokes, but the way you treat one can kill you for the other one. So you do have to be sure that it's not an ischemic stroke when you're going and giving management for a hemorrhagic stroke, and that it's not the other way around. Now, you're very unlikely to be able to get a CT scan done within 1 hour, within 2 hours even. At that time, except you go to a private clinic. No, in the public clinic, you're not going to get it done ever till the next morning. If you can't get it done, I'm not talking public. When I'm saying Shango, I'm talking inclusive of private healthcare. All right, so you're probably going to want to come now. I don't know. I can't mention names, right? Okay, so
no. I mean, you can. It's
okay.
Maybe we can change our lives.
All right, good. So you're probably going to want to hit up somewhere like Evercare.
Yeah.
They have like top tier ER responses. You don't hit up a place like that, you may get your CT scan, but then the person that's supposed to respond to it is not on seat because he works in 6 or 8 or 10 different hospitals. Same consultant works in 10 different hospitals. He may be in surgery somewhere else, or he may be sleeping somewhere else, or he may be taking a much needed break he needs, and he's not available. They can't reach him on the phone because no one has a full-time neurologist in their clinic. In Lagos, Nigeria, nobody can afford it. Nobody can afford to have a full-time neurologist that sits there Monday to Friday. Not possible. We all have to share, I think, maybe 3, 4, 5 neurologists total.
3, 4, 5 what? In the country? Wait, you are laughing like I'm not even ready to hear the truth.
Oh boy. Well, I feel like if people really knew how bad healthcare was in the country, there'll be a riot. If people really knew how bad it was, because the thing is, it hits everybody independently, right? It hits this my neighbor, and it's like, oh, maybe it was something bad that happened, maybe it was a mistake, maybe it was this. It doesn't get to you. The day a healthcare emergency hits your family at the doorstep, you would understand how systematically helpless you are. Billionaires die in this Lagos. It's not about your money. It's beyond your money. And that's one of the reasons why I set up the company that I do have. So, like there was a gentleman that a young guy that runs a tech company. I can't remember the name of the tech company, that died in his estate. I think last year. He just collapsed. There's no emergency response service that everyone knows to call and that can come and give simple CPR in Lagos. There's none. There's no 911. There's no the 112. Well, so this guy was laying there on the roadside with at least $10 million in his account, and nobody knew. There was nothing to call. There was no one to call. There's just nothing. It just depends on who is there, to respond. If you're lucky, we're living on a miracle. Right? You're living on a miracle. So that there's no structure to how do we keep Nigerians safe in a healthcare emergency. They're very aware. Come on.
Yeah, I think they know, but
they don't only not know. Listen, so by virtue of what I do, I attend to quite a number of elites. Yeah, quite a number of elites it's almost the only clientele that I do have, because like I mentioned earlier, not by my choice, like I mentioned earlier, healthcare is expensive. Personalized healthcare, which is what I specialize in, is luxury healthcare, which is even more expensive. So that's just...
Why do you call healthcare luxury?
Because it is.
You have to be joking to call healthcare luxury. But you kind of get my import.
But it is. Right? No, but it is. In your country, it is.
Is there a price on life now? Is that what we're doing? Is it so bad that the only way you can guarantee your chance at breathing the next minute is if you have money?
If you had a heart attack today, you would need at least about 2-3 million to survive.
What?
Describe to me what is luxury and what is not luxury.
So
if you had the blessing of getting the healthcare access in the first place,
that would cost you 2 to 3
if
million.
you had the blessing of getting that healthcare access, you want to get an admission deposit into any useful private hospital. It's I think about 1.5 million. This is for anything. It's just a deposit. It's not like they've assessed. It's not like they've assessed the thing and this is all you're gonna need. No, that's just a deposit for a nice one somewhere in Ikoyi. I don't want to mention. I was there a few days ago with a client. It was 1.5. We did. So good healthcare in the country that you live in is a massive luxury. It's a luxury. It's only affordable for those, and that's the reason why many people don't actually have a health seeking attitude in Nigeria, because they realize that, am I going to be able to afford this? I tell you, every Nigerian, everybody that you know that is doing well is one kidney disease away from poverty.
Oh yeah. Okay, so the government is not investing in public health care. It means that we can't even properly fathom how degraded it is. It means that the Nigerian doesn't even have recourse, or what do you suppose?
So there are a lot of problems and there are a lot of layers. Let me talk a bit about what my other colleagues will probably have been talking about, and that being their experience. I'm glad it's not mine. But the average earning for a Nigerian doctor who is not a specialist yet is under $500,000 a month. That is under that's about $300. And if you break that down to days, 30 days, that's about $10 per day. And if you break that down to 9-hour shift, that's about $1 an hour. Now let's talk about you wanting to get life-saving great service from a person who spent 6 years in training, in the most rigorous training, did 1 year housemanship, and now is out there living in Lagos with you and is earning $1 per hour or less.
Dr.
I just want that to sink in.
I love the fact that I'm trying not to let it sink in because I'm denying what may be the reality you're trying to paint. Dr. Patrick.
Yes, ma'am.
How bad is it? So I think my question to you is, are we saying that the system has not just gotten worse? It is so bad that if we had to place a bet that there was an emergency, that the Nigerian could most likely be dead before he got any kind of measure that could give him a chance at life.
This occurs every day. This occurs every day. We have folks who slump in the hospital, in traffic, at the market, at the supermarket. The staff or the nearest people around don't know what to do as far as CPR. We have our Nigerian behavior that takes place instead of triggering an emergency structure, a 911 or a 277, and knowing that within 5 minutes there will be an ambulance from a reputable medical center.
You know what you mean is that any of us, so here's a doctor, so I think, I don't know, maybe you can treat yourselves. So you're saying this gentleman here, Mr. Ayo Dele, myself, Joyce, my colleague.
Russian relay.
It's a Russian relay. It's a Russian roulette. Like, if something happens,
just recently, the Arise lady.
Any of us could be dead. Oh, thank you very much for bringing that up. The lady with the Arise television.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it was impossible for her to have made it?
That's the thing, because we don't quite comprehend the story, so it's not quite easy to color, your imagination with what could have happened in the process. But we heard that they took her to the hospital, and somewhere in that phase of her chance, the lights went out, and then she died.
Of course. So let's talk public sector and light going out. Till this day, right? At least when I was in school, it was happening. And till this day, you have.
Go ahead.
Till this day, you have surgeries that are going on in teaching hospitals, and the light goes out while a person's bowels are out on the table, and the students that are around will turn on their phones.
And you perform a surgery.
And they try to keep on until the backup comes up, if it does come on in time. Sometimes it's a 10 minutes blackout. You have so the ridiculosity is endless. I'm telling you, it's
the ridiculosity. Sir, I want to go off on a break. Okay. You have
I'll wait.
Lagos, we're going to go off on a break. Is the round table like a square table? We'll be right back.
Info. Let's talk.
Say hello, Lagos. Hello, Port Harcourt. Hello, Abuja. This is Kids FM, the family fun radio. Kids FM is packed with exciting drama, engaging games, inspiring stories, great music, and the kind of conversations that bring families even closer. From sunrise to sunset, we've got something special for everyone in the family. Kids FM is fun for children, cool for teens, and just perfect for parents. It's more than radio.
It's packed with educational content such as language shows, quizzes, storytelling, fun facts, and many more.
It's a family experience you can count on every single day. So, wherever you are, Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja, or anywhere around the world, you can tune in live on 101.7 Kids FM or stream online at kidsfm.ng. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at kids.fm.ng for all the fun updates, giveaways, and behind-the-scene moments. Kids FM, let's play!
Are you finding it difficult listening to your favorite talk radio Nigeria Info via the mobile app? Come closer. Let me fix that for you. Now, launch the app on your device. Click the 3 lines on the top left corner of the app. Look for settings in the drop-down menu and click on it. Turn on the first option that you see. Make sure you turn on the option that says always use highest quality available audio. Now that you have done that, close the app and relaunch it. Voila! I did it! Oh, sorry, you did it. Now you can enjoy your radio anywhere, anytime. Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Attention, secondary schools in Lagos. Season 9 of the I Beg to Differ Secondary Schools Debate Tournament is coming this November. And this time, the battle for secondary schools with ultimate bragging right is officially on. Do you have what it takes to go head-to-head with the brightest young minds in Lagos? Can your school rise to the challenge and claim the crown? Then this is your moment. The I Beg to Differ Secondary Schools Debate is calling your school. Registration opens September 1 and closes September 30. Registration for the I Beg to Differ Season 9 is school-based, only for schools. So gather your team and secure your spot early. To register, visit www.nigeriainfo.fm. Click on the I Beg to Differ Debates banner on the homepage. Fill out the registration form and hit submit. I Beg to Differ, the tournament of champions.
Your voice, your station, your conversation.
Nigeria's GDP growth is not 4.2%, right? It's a lie.
What is on ground to show for it?
Computer Village traders in Ikeja are skeptical about the state government's plan to remove them.
The government, on one side, they present things to be good, but on the other side, there's an hidden agenda behind it.
No visa for corrupt Nigerian official, says U.S. mission.
IBAS rejects Assembly's move to probe 6 months spending.
The INEC chairperson. So we hear the president nominates a list and who's fit for the job.
It is now. The incumbent have a better chance of winning the election.
The FRC asking that they carry more guns. How will this help the situation?
You're tuned to 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Nigeria Info, the sunny side is 29 minutes past 2 p.m. I have a few more minutes with my guest. I'm going to be collecting their final thoughts. Desmond's in the studio. Interestingly, you can tell how much of a Nigerian he is. Being here on a holiday, but you would trust Desmond to do something like that. Okay, so we have an additional doctor join us in the studio, and I would love for him to please introduce himself. Good afternoon to you, Doc. Welcome. Tell us your name and what you do.
Good afternoon, everyone, listeners. I am Dr. Edwin Okon. I
I'm a surgeon working in Lagos. Yeah, and
How many surgery? What, you have a specialty, right? Like you have, so brain, what?
general
Breast.
surgery.
Oh, general surgery. So I've heard cases of, Nigerians say, he even mentioned it rather passively, that, many of our specialists have left the country, but I like the way he contextualized it, which is, you imagine that, you can have a specialist in a certain area, earn that little, get overworked, and he says the government is neglecting the sector. I want to hear from your account, Doctor. What's your name?
Edwin Okon.
Edwin Okon. Please pardon me. What in your view, in your own specialized area of medicine, is a challenge that you face, which you think the government may have spoken about or spoken of in the past, but could be neglecting, or maybe they have probably attended to your area of need and have ignored his? Maybe this is a case of some people have it, some others don't.
Thank you for that question. First, healthcare is everyone's concern. Healthcare in Nigeria is different from healthcare in, let's say, the US or the UK, particularly the UK, because in the UK everyone is under the NHIS. But in Nigeria, I think we have less than 3% of the population under with health insurance, and that significantly hampers
healthcare delivery.
We can't leave everything to the government. First of all, most persons are not aware of the concept of health insurance. There are few employers that provide health insurance for their employees. That's number one. And secondly, there are also few persons who have a health insurance policy. So when there's no health insurance, there won't be proper financing for the healthcare industry. There won't be adequate provision of resources for doctors, and also reimbursement for doctors. That's where the first problem comes into play.
And that's what you believe is the first problem?
Yes.
Okay.
Everyone,
which he also mentioned, financing.
Everyone has to be under a health insurance policy, a central pool where funds are gotten to re-equip the system and pay doctors and pay nurses. Then we can now start talking about the other
issues that affect or inform healthcare system.
Exactly.
Dr. Patrick Ejere, I want to get your thoughts because you were giving me a signal earlier on, and we're trying to wrap this up just so I can let everybody go. You were trying to speak on something. I'm not even sure what your thoughts were, so I'd like for you to pick it up.
Just to come to the rescue of my colleagues who are in Lagos State, there is significant effort in Lagos State to make healthcare available, at least for the lower to lower middle income section. There's a Lagos Health Insurance Plan, and they've been to different companies. They've been around town giving out information, getting people to enroll. Regarding the emergency care scenario, under Governor Fashola, we had a really robust emergency care system.
Okay.
With ambulances stationed in different locations around Lagos, whereby within 5-10 minutes they could get to you.
Oh.
After Fashola, that system just kind of collapsed. Now, I have a colleague who is working with the government to try and resurrect that system. It's not anywhere near what Fashola built. So, just to come to the head of my
that's a vague idea, but it's highly informative an idea. I mean, when you say ambulance system collapses, then he is right. When he says they just don't care. I want your final thoughts. Maybe it's not going to be final. It's going to be maybe a pause for a future continuation.
Yeah. I would like to say that there's a bill, an interesting bill that's trying to be passed. Seems rather savage, but I mean, in a country where we're the way we are, savage is not necessarily bad if it's progressive savage. There's a bill that
you sound like a capitalist.
There's a bill that's suggesting that all public officials be mandated to receive healthcare.
No, that's sensible.
In Nigeria.
Sensible.
If we had that passed, don't ask me how, but if we had that passed, in 5 years, we would have more progress in the healthcare system than we've had in the last 20 to 30 years. And that is a testament to the fact that people just don't care. This is a fact. Honestly, and I'm willing to put whatever wager on it. You know, my colleague talked about health insurance. Much as a lot more people in the national health insurance scheme would bring in a bigger pool of money. Nigeria is not broke. I don't know if you don't know.
Nigeria's not broke.
We're not
I
quite
agree with
broke.
that.
So we do not have an immediate money problem. We have a decision on what to do with the money problem. We're not. It's not. And health insurance is not classically used to pay doctors or build hospitals. It's used to pay. It's a pool. Me, you, three of us put our monies together so that when either of the three of us fall ill, we can take all that money to pay for your healthcare. Right? It's not purposed particularly for building 20 new hospitals in Lagos State. No, that's not where healthcare insurance goes.
Yeah,
it's not purposed to paying off the doctors. No. It's for, we're 50,000. All of us are not going to get ill at the same time. Let's all 50,000 of us put 1 naira each. It gets to be 50k, and then if one of us or 10 of us fall ill, we have 50,000 naira with which to cater to. That's the basic rudimentary concept. Of course, there might be some other little extra details, but I mean, this is the basic concept of healthcare insurance. So Nigeria's not quite broke. Okay. I mean, just take a look around you and look at the jets and look at the...
I mean, the people are broke, but the country is not broke.
The country is not broke.
The country is not broke.
Absolutely not broke.
Thank you. Mr. Aya Adio. You've been here the last 30 minutes, so something you and I can share as Nigerians is the fact that between you and I, one of us has to be good at prayer. Like, you see that laugh that you laugh now, like, it's really that bad. Because it's not your money that's saving you. It's a system that will not work. And as such, because it doesn't work, it will not work for neither you or me. Nigeria is 65, so I want you to share with me your final thoughts. And if you decide we pray about, we all share the grace, maybe.
I think I would close from the very premise from which I started this conversation, which is the question of identity. And I think that we can resolve it by, pursuing what I would call, a sort of consultational democracy that is very representative in nature.
He called healthcare a luxury.
Well,
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes. And that's why we have to resolve it, right? And we can just borrow from countries like Switzerland, that
Cuba.
pursued, where they have various identity groups. Switzerland is unique. It has, 7 linguistic social groups in the country, and all of them are representative in the leadership positions of that country. And since 1959, where they pursued that reform, the country has been relatively peaceful and prosperous ever since then. So perhaps we might want to borrow that kind of leave from Belgium or Switzerland to sort of reform our political system such that various ethnic groups are responsible for the growth of their people, so that we can eliminate that thing that says it is the Fulani man in Kano that is holding you back. That lie politicians tell to say, it is somebody in Abuja that is not delivering. It is one Igbo man that is holding you back. It's Yoruba people that are doing you. We need to remove that from our politics so people can be responsible. So, if I'm poor, it's my brother that is keeping me poor. And that way you would hold him to account. And that way you would elect, quality people into office and not ethnic champions who lie about the nostalgia of some past that never existed and are lying to you that they want to protect you from some sort of invasion that is just an imagination of their ideas. So at 65, let's stop bickering, right? Let's sit on a table, build a national identity, a national consciousness, and let's agree on how we can collectively move forward together. So we solve problems like emergencies. I mean, how can Lagos, you don't have a number to call if you're stuck on 3rd Million Bridge at night? And if you think you're not fast enough, how come thugs can reach us faster? You can just try. Just let your car break down anywhere on the bridge. Costain, 3rd Million Bridge. In 30 seconds, there'll be thugs at you. We can replace that with emergency systems. But it starts with leadership and political will to do. And we can spend an entire day talking about this. But
I love that you brought it up because I was about to ask you, is it possible? And I think you gave a solidly perfect example of how not just possible,
It's
Not
active.
just how. Yeah, it's something
It's
we
active.
can actually do the moment we decide we want to do it.
Yeah.
So it's not just possible; we're capable of achieving that. I want to honestly appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you, doctors. I'll have you back again next week. I would love to. I would love to have you back.
Thank you.
Thank you very much
Lagos
for having me.
99.3 Nigeria Info. The sun has set, my work's done. My name is Joyce. We're handing over now to Desmond, who picks up the conversation here, but of course he's going to talk about Nigeria 65 with the environment. God bless you. I'll see you tomorrow when the sun rises. We're Nigeria Info. Tick, says the clock. What we have to do today is worthy of note.
This is Sunny Side with Joyce, only on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
The harvest is ready, 'cause the Lord of the harvest told me so. It's green for me. It's green for me.
Oh, my dear people, and you know which land we're talking about. The land is green. That particular land that has a lot of green in its flag. Oh, and there's a reason why the Nigerian flag is green and then white and then green. Oh, you see, I grew up in the days when we were relying on what our green resources brought to us. Oh, yes, and I was there at Independence Day at the celebration in a place that you now call Tafawa Balewa Square. But we knew it as the race course, and it was very, very green. Yes, TBS was called the race course, and they used to have races from horses all around the place. There's a cricket pitch there which has still managed to survive. But with the march of the dominance of the people who decided that, well, this democracy, let's push it aside. And they murdered our democracy. Yes. They decided, no, this place is not suitable to be just a green patch. And it must be a parade ground. And that's how it became all concretized. And they started doing all sorts of things there. However, in those days, especially at that time, when the Independence Day came, oh my Lord, I was there. I was a very young fellow, 10 years old, but I was born just down the road, a place called Force Road, which is literally about 70 meters away from TVS. Yes, I was born just there, and my parents were there at the ceremony when the Queen of England sent her, I think it was her sister or somebody, and it was a big ceremony. It was very, very exciting. Everybody was so just on edge. Everybody was just rejoicing that Nigeria has now gained her independence. Oh, that green race course. And that wasn't the only green space around. There was a place called Ikoyi Park, which I'm sure you're still a little bit familiar with, even though it doesn't exist anymore because it had to be developed. And I wonder why they even call it development. Oh. But there you go. It was taken over, sand-filled, lovely place. It used to have little islands, and then you had little bridges joining the islands, and it was just green space all over, right next to the lagoon. It was just the place that people loved to come when they had a bit of free time, because there's something about nature. There's something about nature which is very healing for the metabolic systems, but also for the psychological systems. Yes, that's a fact. And in fact, the Japanese have done a lot of research in that. They call it Shinrin-yoku, which is in Japanese forest bathing. And it's one of the reasons, and I'm sure the doctors in the house would actually give me the nod. It's one of the reasons why the Japanese are some of the oldest living people in the world. I got the nod from the doctor, so I'm on track. Shinrin Yoku, that's what it's called. Forest bathing, because you're taking in phytosins, which is a very fine essence that the trees give off in order to protect themselves from invasion of insects and so on. And apparently this is quite good for boosting the development of your white corpuscles, which is good for keeping you healthy because you're fighting infection and disease. But it's also apparently, and they've done a lot of research on this, good for your psychological balance. It helps, apparently. Being with nature has something to do with the different shades of green. Green in nature has many, many, many shades. Deep, light, medium, you name it. And then you're hearing the birds. Anyway, Shinrin Yoku, yes, in the green space. So that's one of the reasons why Ikoyi Park was so popular. And it was where, if you now wanted to sort of woo a lady, that's the place to take her in those days, because she would just feel so softened by the atmosphere. And then you'd now bring your nice voice and tell her how beautiful she was and all that. And just anyway, that's what's happening at Lufasi Park right now. Yeah, it happens a lot. A lot of people are coming there, couples, they're just resting there and talking to themselves nicely. Anyway, back to independence. So it wasn't just Ikoyi Park, Ibute Meta, Yaba, Apapa, even Alausa. You know where Alausa is now? It was all just green. It was a forest. It was just green space up until about 3 decades ago when the development had to come. Driving to Ibadan, because I went to school in Ibadan. I used to drive there on a fairly regular basis. At least I was driven there. And as soon as you drive out of Lagos, you just see forest. In fact, you'd hear the forest. The noise of the insects and so on your left and your right. The forest was just there. And it was such a wonderful, relaxing, peaceful activity. Oh, my dear people, my dear people. Even the Lekki Expressway, that Lekki Expressway, when I first went there to start my farm, which was eventually converted to Lufasi Park, it was all green. It was all green, left and right. Go to the expressway now. You'll be struggling to see where you can find green, apart from the Nigerian Conservation Foundation, which is a lovely, lovely green space, and, of course, the Lufasi Park. Not to mention our coast. All down the coast. Coconut trees. Oh, my people. It was so beautiful. But then the coastal erosion came along and we started cutting down too much of the mangroves that were there. And this had a negative impact on the stability of the place. But those coconut trees, they were there. And I tell you, my people, it was nice. Remember last week, we discussed a little bit about that. Remember this?
Get your coconut water. Man, it's good for your daughter. Coca got a lot of iron. Make you strong like a lion.
Oh, yeah. And I was wondering when I started interacting with the people by the coast, by the beach there, why they were strong like a lion. Because they were drinking coconut water every day, the wonderful, wonderful effects. And I will ask the doctors in the house, is it not true, sirs, that coconut water is quite good for your metabolism? I got a nod from the doctor. I'm on track here. Doc, is it true? Coconut water is good for your metabolism?
Very true.
Very true. Aha. And in terms of how it enhances your ability to have more strength and even longevity. What is it? Is it because there's certain ingredients in there that are specifically good for the body?
Plenty ingredients in there.
Aha.
You just start with the water component. Right from the time it goes into your mouth, you absorb it across your mucous membrane straight into your bloodstream. So it hydrates rapidly. Number 2, lots of magnesium. You require that to relax the muscles, to build muscles for all your hormones, including your sleep hormone. You know, the better you sleep, the stronger you awake. It's loaded with potassium. Potassium is important for cellular function. It's also important for heart function, to lower blood pressure. It has calcium. We all know calcium with muscle contraction, movements, so many things calcium does in the body. Strong bones, strong teeth, calcium is in there.
There you go.
There's also sodium in there, which you require to maintain your blood flow and your blood pressure. It's loaded.
It's loaded. And that's coming from the highest authority of the medical practitioners here. It is loaded. And that's all there just in the water. What a wonderful blessing that particular element is. And the reason why I brought it up specifically is because that's not all that is there in the coconut tree. It's just the water alone. I mean, that's a huge package. But then they are making milk from the coconut. They are making oil from the coconut. They are making different elements from the coconut. They say even flour comes. They have coconut flour, and the tree itself provides fiber. So what a wonderful blessing for us. And this is one of the reasons why we're sort of emphasizing that we really need to bring the green back into our nation, because that's just the coconut tree we're talking about that has all these elements. And we have profuse amounts of coconut trees all over the country. And that's not the only palm tree. If we now get into the oil palm tree, but Doc, just on a slight aside, is palm oil good for you or not good for you?
I shall give you two answers. One, my great-grandma lived to age 120. Her favorite meal was either roasted yam or even boiled yam and red palm oil.
Oh, late 80s.
120. She got to age 120, my great-grandmother.
Oh, wow.
Second response. Second response. What's in red palm oil? It's your highest quality source of vitamin E. It's your very good source of vitamin A. It has so many other phytonutrients, whether you call them polyphenols or you call them the carotenes, you name it. So for everything from eye function to heart function, and science today is saying that red palm oil actually lowers cholesterol.
Oh, wow.
Red palm oil doesn't have cholesterol, which we're told or misled to believe. Plants don't carry cholesterol, they have phytosterols. Man and animals, we have cholesterol.
Yes.
Red palm oil. Today, there's a product on the market.
Yes.
I wouldn't mention the name. If you have a stroke or you have a heart attack or you have infertility, your doctors who know will put you on a product that is made from red palm oil.
That's made from red palm oil. That's how valuable that palm oil is.
Yes.
Wow. You see, my dear people, and you know the history, that is the economic history of that, is that in the days gone by, it was the oil, that was the oil that the colonialists were after, because at that time, it was great for lubrication in the emerging industrial revolution. Yes, amazing, amazing. Oh, my Lord. And that was one of the major products that Nigeria was selling. It was selling that palm oil. Oh, they were and then they started developing it into cosmetics. So the demand for the oil just boosted and boosted and boosted. But I think you touched on a very, very sensitive nerve there. Maybe when the industrialists, when they discovered that this oil could compete against a lot of the oil products that they were selling for food, they now tried to malign it a bit. I'm so glad you brought this out about the palm oil.
They succeeded to malign it. They've got the drug industry, the doctors, a lot of. They maligned it so well, successfully, to the point where now we're consuming so-called unsaturated oils that are not very healthy for us.
Got you. So back to palm oil, my dear people. But you see, this again is what we need to advocate for our progress. Nigeria has it all. Nigeria has it all. If it's just the coconut alone, but it's not. It's the coconut. It's the palm oil. It's the cocoa. Oh, and there's a whole bunch of other things that we have. We have tremendous potential for our agriculture. And this is now what we need to emphasize on. This is now what we need to go back to. Bring the green back into our system. Oh, yes. And there's also a little lesson, and this is for the leaders. This is something that you can learn from agriculture. Yes, if you plant cassava, you no go harvest cocoa yam. What you sow, you shall reap. So, my dear people who have brought this giant of Africa to her knees, and you as leaders, sow the right thing in the right way. Otherwise, you will certainly reap the wrong consequences. As leaders, you're there to do good things, to reap the right consequences. We gotta go, but we shall be back in just a momento.
More conversation, more talk, more right after this. This October 1st, Lagos will shake. Get ready for the biggest night in boxing history. Chaos in the ring. From the USA to the UK, from Ghana, Tanzania, Morocco, and Nigeria, the Warriors are coming to the Mobolaji Johnson Arena. 10,000 seats, VIP lounges on the arena floor, VVIP experiences like never before.